chapter 21, verse and number 3. It's an interesting entry point. Now, therefore, what have you on hand? David's talking to the priest in Nob, and he's asking for some provisions. Now, therefore, what have you on hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand. Or whatever can be found. Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or whatever can be found. Take a seat. So I want to give you your message entitlement up front. Finding what's there. Finding what's there. Oh, you know it's led. Watch this. True endurance is a quality grown in difficulty and diligence. I'm going to say it one more time. I said true endurance is a quality grown in difficulty and diligence. You're not going to gain endurance until you go through difficulty. You're not going to gain endurance until you're diligent enough to go through something that is difficult. And some of us know that this run that we're on is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you're going to run a marathon, you need some endurance. You need some endurance. You can't give away to temptations. You can't give away to troubles. You can't give away to trials and travail and turmoil and turbulence and all those things that hit our life. And sometimes when these different things hit our life, because we've got triumph on one side and trouble on the other side, and it seems like we can't take the triumph and deal with the trouble. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But the way that we do this, we have to do it constantly and earnestly. And we know that consistency is an issue in the church. It's an issue with people. It's an issue. Consistency is an issue. You'll see somebody doing something for a season, and they may have their reasons, but hear me out. You'll see somebody doing for us, and then it seems like they just drop out. And if you drop out, that means that you didn't graduate. Are you understanding what I'm saying? You could talk about where there's other ways to get education. I ain't talking about a piece of paper. I'm not talking about a diploma. I'm talking about graduation. And some of us have dropped out and never graduated. We dropped out because the course got difficult. Lord, that's laid. I said the course got difficult, so also, you know what? This is too much for me. We can't work with the reserves because we know that we can't sit on our laurels. Say amen. So I can't sit on my laurels and as if that's the only thing I ever have to do. But watch this. I have to understand that those wins are reserves. Oh, okay, I get into it. Receive this. We are not weak when we exercise virtue. We are not weak when we exercise virtue, because what happens when you can't fight back and you have to wait on the answer is you're like, okay, I can't fight back. I'm aware that that's what God has me, because David knows that he can't retaliate. He refuses to retaliate, and he's got to show a tremendous amount of restraint. And restraint is a different kind of strength. Resistance training is a different kind of training. Are you hearing what I'm saying? When you say, I can't let up, I can't retaliate, I can't respond to this person who's being aggressive against me. But what the mind does to us when we're resisting people that are attacking us is our own mind. Sometimes it's the enemy, but sometimes it's us. Oh, you weak. And then the current you starts reminding you of the former you. See, we like to blame stuff on the devil. But a lot of times it's the current you is listening to the former you. And the former you is telling the current you, I remember I would have went off. Anybody, you might not have said it out loud. You might not be as crazy as me. Anybody ever had a fight in your own head with your former self, and you trying to snuff your former self out, but they a tough win. They are hard out. Because you ain't give up fighting when you was, before you got righteous. You think you're going to give up fighting now that you are? You thinking that you're going to give up fighting now that you're walking with God? But you just got to fight on a different level. You got to fight with a different weapon. Does that make sense? And so now, you're not just having to fight the resistance. You're having to fight yourself. Okay. Because you know, come on, let me just catch everybody's eyeballs real quick. You ain't got to tell me your story. You know what you would have did. Anybody know what you would have did? And you have to make a decision not to go back to what you're familiar to. You have to make a decision not to go back to what you're familiar with. I'm familiar with acting that way. It's not strange to me. Retaliation isn't strange to anybody in this room. It's not foreign to anyone in this room. And sometimes, don't go down that road too long, but sometimes when you got your revenge, it felt good, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. That's all right. You ain't got to shake your head in front of all the saints. We know the truth. But in this season, we have to be like, you know what? It's not about revenge, and it's not about retaliation. It's about restraint. Because even though by human standards, by man's standards, I have a right to response, God hasn't given me permission. But you're not weak. Somebody need to hear that. You're not weak when you exercise virtue. So sometimes we got to tell ourselves that. We got to convince ourselves, I'm not weak because I'm exercising restraint. I'm not weak because I'm exercising wisdom. I'm not weak because I'm exercising temperance, Lord have mercy. I'm not weak because I'm exercising peace. I don't need to tell them what I would have done. I don't need to tell nobody else what I would have done. Because there are some things, I don't know the conversations that David was having in his head, but we don't know them because he didn't say nothing. And there are some things that you don't need to tell everybody about. Everybody doesn't know that you needed to fight yourself to get up this morning. Everybody doesn't need to know that you had to fight yourself to keep going on this particular rough and rocky road. Everybody doesn't need to know that. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Here's the thing, and I want you to think about this because it's layered. Endurance expands our reach. Endurance expands our reach. How so? It expands our purpose. Our person, you didn't even know that you can go that far until you were pushed that far. You didn't even know. How many could be like, I didn't know I was going to make it this far. And whatever you might be trying a new venture in life. You didn't know that you was going to make it this far, but you had to endure the seasons where you didn't know what you were doing. You had to endure the seasons where you were learning to do what you need to do. You had to endure the seasons when you knew what to do, but it wasn't happening. You had to endure the seasons when you knew how to move, but nobody saw you. Am I talking to anybody in here? I know how. He said, the text tells us a couple chapters ago that David behaved wisely, and people saw him, but even though they saw him moving wisely, he was still getting attacked. Even though all he did was stay away and escape every time. And here's the interesting thing, is that David would escape, and then he would give Saul another chance. So watch this. David's like, I'm trying to work with you. But man, you done thrown this spear at me 3 times. And every time somebody say something about me, you about to lose your mind. Enough is enough. I tried, but this ain't working. But I'm not in a position to remove you. What happens when you can't remove the person who's wronging you in your life? Oh, God. So I don't know if we like this kind of word. I can't remove them because God hasn't given me permission. All I can do, watch this. Sometimes you can't remove them. You got to remove yourself. Oh, see, this is what happens a lot of times. We want to remove folks. We want to move out because we got a right to be there. God called me to be there. God called David to be the king of Jerusalem. And you know what he keeps doing? He just keeps getting away from it. I know I'm called, but I got to remove myself. I know I'm supposed to reign, but I got to remove myself. I know where I'm supposed to reside, but I got to rule. I got to remove myself. I know where I'm supposed to rest. I'm supposed to be able to rest here, but I got to remove myself. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Oh, Lord. It stretches us. Endurance stretches us by its nature. It strengthens our resolve. Watch this. David left Naoth in Ramah. That's where the prophets were. He fled from there. Somebody say he fled from there. And so he's still, this is chapter 20 if you would, but he's still questioning Saul's attacks. He's still in his head in the whole chapter 20. He's like, in the first part of chapter 20, he's asking his friend Jonathan, yo, he's still like, what did I do, like, for real? Anybody, come on real quick. Anybody just like had somebody attacking you? You like, no, seriously, like seriously, if I did you wrong, please tell me what I did. Like if I did you wrong, I'm humble enough to be like, you know what, my bad, can I make it up to you? Can I do something to restore where we were? Can I at least be around you without feeling like my life is in danger? Can I at least be around you without feeling like you're going to assassinate my character anytime you get a chance? Can we just get there? Can we just be peaceable? Don't the Bible say, as much as you can, live peaceable? I'm trying to do the Bible thing. I'm trying to be biblical over here. I'm trying to be peaceable with you. But every time I get around you, it's problems. Oh, man. And Saul's ill intentions show up again. So they were supposed to have a dinner. It was a new moon. It was a new moon, and they were supposed to have a dinner. This was, I guess, a little tradition. This is something that they were used to, and they were supposed to have a dinner, and David had a seat. I really could preach that right there, but that's not where we're going. But if I could take a moment real quick, he had a seat, but he didn't take it. He had a seat, but he didn't take it. Because he understood that being in that seat, though he'd earned that seat, though he had a right to that seat, he couldn't be in that seat. That'll preach itself. I have a right to be there, but I can't sit there. So he gets his absence, long story short, and so Jonathan's helping him out. And so Saul now is noticing that David is gone. Now every time he around you, you got issues, but now that he gone, you still looking for him. Ain't this just like life? It's like every time I'm around you, you got issues. But now that I'm not there, you still looking for me. I don't understand you. I'm talking to somebody in here. I try to remove myself from you, but I'm gone now. I shouldn't be aggravating you. I'm not even there. Well, where they at, though? They supposed to be here. What, to agitate you? I don't get it. And Jonathan's like, man, what's your issue? And Saul's thinking of his lineage. So I was like, man, don't you know as long as David's alive that your position is in jeopardy? Don't you know that as long as David is around here, that there's going to be problems for you? Jonathan, like, me and David good. We good. We bros. Like, you the one with the issue. Quick side note, watch this. Just because that's their enemy don't mean it's got to be yours. I can love you and not be enemies with them. Are you understanding what I'm saying? When I'm talking about parallel relationships, in other words, person to person, you ain't going to get me to hate somebody just because you don't. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to pull me into your drama just because you're a madman. And then, oh, Lord, I don't want to go too far down there, but don't some people try and pull your friend card and be like, well, if you was my friend, then you would be. No. We way too mature for that, some of us. We too grown for that. So I ain't doing that. Jonathan like, I ain't doing that. So now Jonathan's agency and Saul's like, you don't think I know? I know. David was on the run again. And so he came, at the top of chapter 21, he came to Nob, which means high place. Lord have mercy. So he came to this high place to the priest Ahimelech, which means brother of the king, and he asked for something. He came to the priest, and he asked for bread. He came to the priest, and he asked for bread. And he didn't just ask for bread. He said, hey, give me 5 loaves. If you will, can you give me a little grace? But if you can give me a little, but you know what? Whatever you have on hand. Because in the position that I'm in, even though I don't deserve to be in this position, sometimes I got to take whatever I can get. I can't be so powerful and demand, do you know who I am? Do you know who God called me to be? Man, what do you have? Do you have something? Can you give me a little something? Can you give me a little grace? Can you give me a little favor? Can you do me a favor? Can you show a little mercy to a brother? Can you do something for me? Can you give me 5 loaves? I'll take whatever can be found. Whatever can be found. But he received what he requested. So what did he find there? He found fuel to go further. It may be simple to some folks, but I don't think sometimes we realize that a message has gotten us through entire seasons. There are hugs that have saved people's lives. You understand? There are ears that kept people just listening to somebody else. You know, a lot of times you can be a brilliant counselor if you would just listen. Because a lot of folks will talk themselves straight. They just need to get it out in the air. They just need to get it out. I always like to use this one. It's a gross one, but I love to use this analogy because it's a perfect one. When somebody is sick and they need to vomit, you don't push the vomit back down their throat. They are sick. They need to get it out their system. And some of us, watch this, we are sick of what's happening to us. And so what we really need to do is just get it out of our system. Let me throw this thing up. Stop telling me how ugly I look while I'm doing it. I ain't never seen nobody vomit pretty. You ever seen anybody vomit pretty? I ain't never seen nobody vomit pretty. Come on. Never. Never. They could be pregnant and beautiful, but boy, look at here when that morning sickness ain't never. So why is it when people vent to us, we try and make them look pretty? We want them to speak softly. We want them to speak in a language that we want them to speak in. We want them to talk. No. Holler, scream, yell, I'm here to listen. And if you get a little on me, it's okay. These clothes can be cleaned. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But he gets fuel to go further. The text says that he was alone. This is where it starts getting good to me. The text says that he was alone. Matter of fact, when he came alone, the priest was like, hey, he was a little shook. He's like, hey, what, David? Why are you by yourself? But David only appeared to be by himself because he was really collecting for other people. He said, let me get 5 loaves of bread. And what we got to understand about the text, even though it's just a little pass-through of a thing that says, it was so profound to me because he wasn't by himself. He was alone when he went to this particular place. But what he had done, the text says that he had dispatched young men to other locations. Say he wasn't by himself. Oh, wait a minute. And don't miss this. He had people to run with. I know you're going through a lot in this season. Maybe it's a minor point to you. But sometimes we got to realize because just because they're not around doesn't mean that they're not running with you. Oh, God. I don't know if y'all missed that one. See, nobody knew that David had people. The priest didn't know that the people didn't know that David had folks running with him. The priest thought that he was by himself. I'm not by myself. It's just I got other people in other locations. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes we're looking for people to be with us 24/7, and just because they're not with you 24/7 doesn't mean that they ain't running with you. Because sometimes you got to go get stuff for them even though you're the one under attack. Because when somebody is really connected to you, they get in the trenches with you. Oh, God. I say when somebody's really connected to you, they're in the trenches with you, and sometimes they're struggling too. Sometimes they need fuel to run with you. And what you going to do? Only think about your situation? Because I'm the one under attack. And here's the beautiful part that I was picking up in this part of the text right here. He's still got shepherd tendencies. He's under attack, but he's making sure that his folks are taken care of. I said, he's under attack, but he's still making sure somebody else can keep running. So he can't be selfish if he's looking out for other people. And I know a lot of times when we're the ones being attacked, because watch this, there's other folks that put themselves in danger by connecting themselves to David. That's truth. But he's the one being attacked. Are you understand what I'm saying? And so there are some people that you got to realize, even though you're the one being under attack, go ahead and help them out. Okay, I don't know if you hear me. I said, I know you're the one under attack, but help them out. Because it's going to come in handy later. Are you understand what I'm saying? Don't they see what I'm going through? Yeah, they do. That's why they with you. Okay, maybe that ain't good enough. Let me keep moving. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Somebody say, I got somebody to run with. They may not be here. They may not be here. They may not be here, but I got somebody to run with. You may not see them. I know you think I'm by myself, but I got some over here and I got some over there. Oh, Lord. He was still looking to feed those who were following him. Ain't that like a shepherd? Remember, this is the interesting thing, right? So for your consideration, our experience is another's evidence. Oh, Lord, I got to walk it down in the Bible. I said, our experience is another's evidence. You remember when Yeshua was walking through the grain field on a Sabbath day? Oh, God. And the Pharisees got to looking at him strange, and they're saying something in the realm of, you're doing that which is unlawful on the Sabbath day. How dare you do something so they were attacking him. Now, he wasn't under the same attack as David, but he was still under attack. And watch how Yeshua uses the scriptures to defend himself. You know what passage he pulls? This one. He said, don't you remember the scriptures? Because see, David didn't just get any bread. He got bread that was whole. Okay. And see, the priest was like this. The priest was like, look, hey, it was holy bread, but just tell me that you've at least kept yourself away from women. In other words, it was pure in this sense, right? He said, if you kept yourself pure, then you can have this. Watch this. If you kept yourself pure, then you can have this. One more time, I said, if you kept yourself pure, then you can have that. If everybody is with you is just being pure, then you can have this. If you haven't been in contact with things that you shouldn't be in contact with, well, then you can have, okay. So that means that, and David says, I can assure you that none of us have touched a woman. Again, this is about purification. Do you understand what I'm saying? So how do I get pure? Every man that has hope in him purifies himself. If I have hope, then I can receive help. If I have hope, okay. But I can't be selective with what I receive, because whatever you have on hand that's going to get me to the next place, I'm going to receive that. But he got what he asked for. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And Yeshua, because what David experienced is now Yeshua's evidence. Let me say it again. I said what David experienced is now Yeshua's evidence. Yeshua's not up on a high place. He's in the grain field. But it's still evidence. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. He's not, is that, see what we're doing? We try to line things up. It's got to happen exactly like this for me and able to use this. No. You got to know how to effectively use the word. And nobody's better at it than Yeshua. And so Yeshua said, do you remember when those Pharisees are on his case? You're doing unlawful things and they're trying to assassinate his character and they're trying to lay their accusations. He says, don't you remember? Don't you know your Bible? Do you know your word? When David and his men needed bread that they received, holy bread they would normally receive, they would normally be qualified for, but because there was a need there, their need was met. Oh, God. I'm trying to tell you, sometimes finding what there is needs being met. Let me say it again. Sometimes finding what's there is needs being met. But sometimes we overlook needs being met because it's not working out how we thought it would work out. I should get more than just some bread. I'm a warrior. You know how many battles I won? I should receive more than bread. But bread is all you need to keep going. I'm going to say it again because somebody need to hear that on the spiritual side. Bread is all you need. Because man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out the mouth of God. And he says, I am the living. Are you hearing what I'm saying? He was hungry, and he used this passage. What if I told you our press is another's passage? Our press is another's passage. What's been done can get done. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. What's been done can get done. You got through that? I don't know exactly how this is going to work out for me because I'm some 1,000 years removed from what happened to you. God help me here. See, this is why we got to understand how to use the word, because this happened 1,000 some odd years ago, but it's still relevant and it's still useful to us now. We just got to know how to employ it at the right time. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so when Jesus, who's not in the same situation, because he's in a grain field, he's not up on a high place. But he uses this passage to get through. Let me say it again. I said he uses this passage to get through. What we need to do is we need to know the right passage to get through that situation. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So our press is another's passage. Watch this. The truth is, proof inspires attempts. Write that one down because it's better than you're going to give an amen to. I said proof inspires attempt. A lot of the reason why we attempt the things that we attempt is because we saw somebody else's proof. You saw them shooting that jumper. You saw that jumper go in. Proof. You saw them walking in that storm. You saw them survive. Proof. You saw them get through that hardship. You saw them get through them aches and those pains. Proof. You saw them go through without complaining, without going crazy, without losing their mind. Proof. You saw them get there at an old age. Proof. You saw them get there at a young age. Proof. Somebody need to praise God because you're proof. I don't even know if you understand what I'm saying. You need to praise God because you're proof. Somebody say, I'm proof. But Pastor, I haven't reached the place I want to reach yet. But you're proof that he's not finished with you yet. I know sometimes you had a couple days, maybe even a couple months where you was like, you know what, I just don't feel up to it. But then somewhere in time you got up, you're like, you know what, I still got to keep pressing on. And when you start pressing on again, when you got off your pity pat, when you left your pity party. Oh, come on now. When you left your pity party, you became proof. Oh, I don't know if we don't like that one. When you left your pity party, you became proof. That even though sometimes I feel sorry for myself, it happens. It happens. But guess what? I don't want to stay at my pity party. Do you understand? I can't stay there. I can't just sit down and just, woe is me and woe is me. Man, woe is a lot of folks. And this ain't about comparing their problems to your problems. Oh, quick side note, I think that's the worst way to problem solve. I think it's the worst way to problem solve. Well, you're not going through what somebody else is going through. How does that help me? How does that help me? I tell you what can help you. They went through things that were difficult, and they kept going. You know what that means? You can too. There's somebody that came out the other side of addiction. You know what that means? You can too. There's somebody else who used to be a liar, a cheat, a scandal, and they're not anymore. You know what that means? You can too. There's somebody else who is still experiencing struggle, but they're still pressing. You know what that means? I can too. Because guess what? On the other side of this sermon, I'm not guaranteeing you that you're going to get through. But I am going to tell you that you can keep going through. And that's the thing. Again, this is about endurance because endurance isn't like it's going to be over tomorrow. Endurance is whenever it's over, I'm still going to praise God. No matter what happens, I'm still going to keep working my way through because guess what? It's not like David had a map and said, you know what? This week I'm going to Naoth, and this week I'm going to Nob, and this week I'm going to this place. And he didn't have an itinerary. He was just going wherever he could. And some of us just got to get to wherever we can because we don't know everything. I'm here to tell everybody, all these people who think they got their whole thing mapped out, they are liars. Folks who think they got it all figured out, they're liars. You don't have it all figured out. I don't care how apostolic, how prophetic, you don't have it figured out. Not all of it. And truth be told, the only thing that you got to have it figured out is that he's going to work it out. And some of us don't understand that through the uncertainty that we're right where God wants us to be. That he's positioning us and he's preparing us and he's giving us those calluses that we need to work through some things. If you're going to work through your hand, you're going to need to build up some calluses. You can't be like, ouch. You understand what I'm saying? If God is saying you need to work with your hand, ouch. No, that's not going to work. You're going, but after a while, you're going to have to get some thick skin. Lord have mercy. I hope y'all know for the things that are coming, you're going to have to get some thick skin. You can't let stuff just hurt your feelings like it used to all the time. You can't be worried about what everybody think about you all the time. You can't always be, every time somebody says something, you go south. You understand what I'm saying? Some of us are going to have to build up some endurance, and the only way we're going to build up that endurance is to go through difficulty. That's the only way to get it. It's difficulty or diligence or both. That's it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That's the only way to build it. Even if you're training, watch this, even if you're training to run long distance, you can't run 100 meters talking about something on training for long distance. I run 100 meters every day, but it's a marathon. That's 26 miles. What are 100 meters going to do? Nothing. And I'm not saying you're going to be able to run 26 miles day one, but you got to at least get to a mile. And then the next time, you know what I'm saying, keep training and building your way up. But this is what life does to us. It's putting us on a course that some of us don't even realize that right now we need to give God a praise that we're further than we were yesterday. I got more stamina than I had yesterday. I can deal with more than I dealt with yesterday. No, I haven't figured it out, but I can at least deal with more. At least I'm not down on myself. At least I haven't given up on God. At least I haven't went back to the pity party. Okay. But proof inspires attempts. It gives me a reason to try. Let's go further. Oh, this is a good one. Yesterday's victories are cachet for today's journey. Lord have mercy. I said yesterday's victories. Now, normally we don't talk about yesterday's victories because we hear things like, don't rest on your laurels. And no, don't. But receive this. Yesterday's victories are cachet for today's journey. What do you mean? So while he's at this place, he doesn't just get the bread. He says, do you have, this is the part that I'm about to lose my mind. He says, do you have any weapons here? Because I'll take whatever you have on hand. The interesting thing is, what is a priest doing with weapons? And the priest doesn't just have any weapon, he has Goliath's sword. He doesn't have, this is the text, he doesn't have any weapon. This is why when we rush this stuff, we miss the little things that got us to the places that we need to be. He doesn't just have any weapon. Matter of fact, David says there's none like it. So you know this was a different kind of a weapon. What if I told you that not only the weapons formed against you wouldn't prosper, what if I told you the weapons formed against you were going to become a part of your arsenal? Oh, God. Let me say it one time. What if I told you the weapons formed against you were to become a part of your arsenal? Because that's exactly what happens for David. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. And the interesting thing is that David is in this high place, and the man remembers his victory in the valley. Oh, God. Because when he fought Goliath, he fought a giant in a valley. He fought. Oh, can I say it like this? Because it is literally true, but I want you to pick it up metaphorically and spiritually, right? So he had a victory in a depression. He got a major victory in a low place. And a weapon that was surely formed against him. The same weapon that he took the sword. Watch this. Goliath didn't even get to use his sword. Because David had to pull out this man's sword and take his head. It's possible that the rock only knocked him out. I don't know, but it's possible that the rock only knocked him out, but his sword took him out. Oh, somebody ought to bless God, because what the enemy's trying to do to you, what the enemy has planned for you, what the enemy has sheathed for you, can't even be used against you. What happens is, now the weapon that you formed against me, even though you made it, you won't make it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? He got a victory in a low place, but the interesting is that the victory in a low place, the victory in the valley, if you would, the place was called Gath, I believe. It was called Elah, okay? It was called Elah, but this victory in the valley has put him on a precarious path. Because on one side, he's a hero, and on the other side, he's a fugitive. Ain't that life? To this group of people, you the best thing ever. And to these one or two people, you the worst thing they ever seen in their life. And you try to figure out, like, I'm not that bad of a person. You know, you come on now. Anybody ever just start having them conversations with you? Say, I don't get this. Now, I ain't saying I'm perfect, because we all go, I ain't saying I'm perfect. I ain't saying that without flaw. But what is this? Why are you after me? I keep trying to get away from you. If I was so toxic, why can't you not be, why are you trying to get around me? I'm trying to get away from you. Most people don't want the company of their threats. That seems what Saul's issue is. Where's David? He's supposed to be here. I thought, why would he be here when every time you just keep throwing spears and shade and all that? Why would he? That don't even make sense. That's just my mind wondering about the text. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But he had killed Goliath in his valley, and now this sword. And it's interesting because I have so many questions. I got so many questions. What is this priest doing with weapons? What is this priest doing with this weapon? How did this weapon, because the text, I believe in chapter 17, David had took the stuff to his tent. It didn't say the sword specifically, but so how did it get from wherever David put it? Because what a victory was, if the weapon was found in the same place that he got the victory, that would be logical. Wouldn't it? Because I found it where I left it. But somehow, this weapon relocated and found me. I don't know, somewhere in the course of time, something that I wasn't even thinking about, I was saying, I'll take whatever's available. It's like, look, I'm going to give you something nobody else has. I need somebody to receive right now. God is saying, if you'll just keep going, I'm going to give you something that no one else has. David said, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I'm telling you, if you just keep going, I'm not saying that you're going to win. I'm not saying it's all going to be over. I'm just saying if you keep going, God is going to provide for you. You're going to get to a place and you're going to receive something that nobody else has. And it came from a victory that you won days ago, years ago, months ago, in a low place, in a valley, okay. I say again, yesterday's victory is a cachet for today's journey. What do you mean? Think about it. The victories that you got taught you a lesson. Mm-hmm. So you got lessons. You got experience. It's one thing to think that you can go into a fight. It's another thing to get through one. What they say, the gospel of Mike Tyson says that everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. That's the gospel of Mike Tyson. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But you got lessons, you got experience, you got to witness. You got to witness. I've seen warfare. I've been around real warfare, so there's certain things that are not going to that they're not going to have me disturbed. They're not going to have me scared. Not because I'm so brave, not because I'm so tough, but because I've seen it before. You understand? And I have a healthy fear. Okay, that's like the fear of God is a healthy fear. All right, warfare. You shouldn't be so amped up to go into warfare if you really been in one. Spiritual or otherwise, but if you really been in one for, you ain't that amped up to go into it. You got to have a healthy look. I know what that really feel like. Anybody really been attacked? Anybody really been in some real warfare? You don't want to go back in there, do you? You ain't amped up to go. You know what to do if it comes around. You got an idea. You ain't inexperienced. But it ain't like you be like, yeah, I wish somebody would. See, that's an immature person. That's an immature person. I wish somebody would. No, I wish nobody would. Leave me alone. I'm out here trying to live, man. Get from around me. I get from around. Are you hearing what I'm saying? We got a point of reference. The text tells us he fled from there. So he was at Nob at this time, and he fled from there. It seems like David just keep running. Why are you over here? Why are you over there? Why are you over there? I'm running. And running looks different when you have a reason. Everybody don't have to understand the reason. It ain't that you got to explain yourself to everybody. I'm trying to set some folks free in here because, watch this, all of us ain't found out where we need to be yet. And some of us are trying to get to where we need to be and don't even know where there is. I'm trying to, anybody, okay, one quick thing, maybe this ain't deep enough for some folks. Anybody trying to get there and don't know where there is? I just want to talk to a couple real folks that ain't got everything figured out. If you got everything figured out, I ain't talking to you today. How many people are trying to get there and don't even know what there is? You understand what I'm saying? Some folks are like, I want to get this. No, I'm trying to get there, right? Even if it's wealth, do you know how to get there? Even if it's peace, you know how to get there? Some of us don't even know. Some of us know where there is, but some of us don't even know where is there. Because you think that when you get the wealth, you're going to have everything that you need? Nah, I don't want to bring it up and be insensitive, but there was somebody smiling every day, dancing and all that thing. You know what I'm saying? The young man that unfortunately took his own life, whatever, have smiling 2 days ago, cheesing, living like, ooh, look at their life. And we look at social media, and we get looking at everybody's best pictures. They best pictures with a filter. You can tell the age of somebody by the way they take pictures. It's angles. You take a picture like this, you probably ain't a millennial. You got to take it down. Why? Because it's a better view. It's a better view. It is. It's a better angle. You know them angles, you turn the light up, you put your filter on, you know, all that good stuff. So we see all these filters. There was another one, I saw this guy that does bodybuilding, and he's like, he was doing a video of himself, and he's still fit, very fit. But he didn't look like when he was in the competition. He was fit, chiseled, but he didn't look like he looked at competition. And he said, this is the problem with social media. See, people only show you this. They don't show you this. Yeah, I'm still fit, but I don't really look like that. Watch this. I'm still getting through, but everything ain't all right. No, I'm not going to hold no pity party, but, hey, sometimes I need somebody to listen to what I'm going through. No, I'm not going to stay down and out about my situation. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes I just need somebody to hear me out. Sometimes I need somebody to run with me. Don't ask me where I'm going. I don't know. Just run with me. I remember one time I was running through my neighborhood. I was training to go into the Marine Corps because I didn't think I could just show up and run 3 miles. So I was running, and I was running around my neighborhood, and one of my friends turned around on the wrong side of the road, and he stopped his car. He said, where are you going? I got you. And I'm like, man, I'm training, but you're a real one for that one. He had no idea why I was running. He's just like, man, I got you. I don't need to know the reason. I just see you running. Come on. I'll take you wherever you need to go. I need some people that'll just run with me. Don't ask me why. Just run with me. You know I'm trying to do the right thing. Just run with me. Stop asking me my reason. Just run with me. Can somebody get with me and say, just run with me? Just run with me. You know I ain't out here for no reason. Just run with me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Somebody say, just run with me. He ran again. He went to Ahish. And Ahish means angry, which is interesting to me. He went to Ahish, the king of Gath, which is the wine press. Now, from a spiritual perspective, you know, if you go into the wine press, you think something good is about to happen, you know, because that's how the wine comes out. It has to go through a crushing, and there has to be a pressing. And he came to this wine press, and I think this is a side note. It's interesting that he went to the place where he got bread in the wine place. That was just interesting. But let me come back to the text. That's a side note. Just interesting to me. Right? So you got a board, he's got bread, he's got sword, and he's got wine. But no, that's not what happened, okay? So, but in the text, he comes to this place, the wine press. Side note quickly, and I'll move on. Pressing places we've been, build on who we become. Pressing places we've been, build on the people we become. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And you're like, why am I going through all I'm going through? Because that pressing place is building who you're going to become. So the next time that you're faced with a pressure, you're like, I already know what's on the other side of this. I know there's something on the other side of this. There's new wine on the other side of this press. God help me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? There's new wine on the other side of this press. That means there's going to be new wines. It has to be some new things on the other side of this press, because how it came is not going to finish. Yes. There's going to be some pressure, but something's going to come out of it. We all know it. You got to have pressure. The pressure creates diamonds. Huh? Pressure creates wine. Pressure creates oil. But pressure also creates destruction. Do you understand what I'm saying? Pressure can create implosion. So you got to be careful how you handle pressure. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You got to know, sometimes you just really getting through is sometimes just knowing that you're going through. There's no one, right? Even though he has someone to blame, it's not really his fault. Saul is the individual. The things that's going on with Saul is causing him to go through this. You understand? But how is blaming, oh God, thank you for this one, Holy Ghost. How is blaming Saul going to help you right now? They're the reason I'm going through. How is that helping you right now? They're the reason I'm in this situation. If it wasn't for Saul, I don't want to talk about y'all. I want to talk about David, because I don't want nobody getting upset with me. I don't know your situation. I ain't that deep. I'm just saying, what is blaming Saul going to do? What is it going to do? Saul is the reason I'm in this. Saul is the reason I just can't rest. I got to go. Well, how's that going to help you? It's not. He's to blame. This is Saul's fault. Come on, somebody come this way. This is Saul's fault. I'm in this situation because Saul got an issue. I wouldn't be here. God help me, I'm trying to help somebody. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Saul. No, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. Because if Saul would have got his hands on you, you'd already be dead. Instead of looking for someone to blame, I need to look to who I believe. Because the blame isn't going to help me. Just because you blame them don't mean they will ever take responsibility. I'm talking to somebody. Just because you blame them doesn't mean they're ever going to be accountable. Just because you blame them doesn't ever mean it's going to take the weight and the guilt and the pain and the anguish away from you. I got to go to who I believe. Because blame can't help me. I'll never get a breakthrough through blame. God help my soul. I will never get a breakthrough through blame. I will only get a breakthrough by belief. That's just, I'm sorry, let me come back down. That's real talk. I'm not getting blaming this, watch this, it's their fault. You happy now? You good? It's them. They did it. You were just there. And you tried to get away from there. And they kept following you. And that's why you can't go nowhere. Everywhere you go, here they go. I can't shake them. But the blame ain't going to break me out. Watch this, I got to keep it moving. I got to keep it moving. I got to keep it moving. Because right now, this is my only resolve. Everybody else might tell you, stand up to them, fight them. I can't. If I don't have permission, watch this, I'm a believer, I'm submitted. See, submitted people can't do whatever they want to do. Submitted people can't do whatever they want to do. Why don't you just do this? I can't. God didn't give me permission. Well, he let me do it, but he didn't tell me. Your permission isn't my permission. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, watch this. Your proof gives me the possibility that it can become my permission. But until God says, you can do thus and so, you should not, you can, but you should not do thus and so. I know that's Holy Ghost. I ain't had that nowhere. But do you hear what I'm saying? Say the blame won't get me a breakthrough. One more time. Say the blame won't get me a breakthrough. It's their fault. They did it. They're wrong. In this situation, you're completely right. The only thing that you did to be in the position that you're in is you keep winning. Watch here. And sometimes the person that's blaming you, you've been winning on their behalf. Ah! Some of us didn't put ourselves in the positions that we're in. I'm trying to move on, but that's where it is. I said some of us are trying to move on, and we try to like I know that the only reason I'm in this position is because of this person. And they're the ones to blame. Let me help you out. Yep. Now what? Now what? They're to blame. They should what? They should what? Because if they should, they would. They're not going to. Some of these folks that have wronged you ain't gonna get right. Watch this. I have to go back in my mind, but I don't recall Saul ever apologizing to David. He'll be like, I don't know what was going wrong with me. He'll come to his senses, but he find the text what Saul goes to David and be like, you know, David, because that's what we think we're going to get our freedom. We think we're going to get our freedom when a person who's to blame says, I'm sorry. We think that we're going to get, the freedom that we need when the person who's to blame says, oh, my fault. No, because some of these folks ain't going to apologize. Watch this. Some of them ain't sorry. Some of them are only sorry they missed. Some of them only sorry. I'm sorry I missed. I'm sorry I didn't break you all the way down. I'm sorry I didn't pin your head to the wall. Sorry, not sorry. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But pressing places we've been in build who we become. Somebody ought to be helped right now because the blame ain't helping you. It's not helping you, and it never will. I got a few more things to tell you. Is that all right? In Gath, this is where he is now. This is where he's ran to, in this wine place. In Gath, the king's servants recalled the songs of his sayings. So now that he's come to Gath, this place where this angry man is, this wine press where this angry man is, the servants see him and they start singing his song. And this is the same song that set off Saul. They're singing the same song. It's traveled. It's become popular. It's everybody's jam now. That's my song right there. Saul, slay this thousand David. Hey, hold up. Woo! You know, it's everybody's song now. But I want to remind you of something I taught you a few messages ago. Celebrations can be triggering. Because it triggered Saul. Now it's triggering David. Because now when David hears this song, he ain't like, yeah, that's right, that's me. He's like, oh, snap. Man, I thought I had got away from this situation. And sometimes, God help me, I hope somebody receive this the way I'm trying to give it to you. Sometimes you got to get away from your praises. Sometimes you got to, like that, again, that's why I keep saying, go somewhere where they celebrate you. I don't know if you want to go everywhere where they celebrate you. Go where you celebrate it, not tolerate it. Well, David was celebrated. Jesus was celebrated. Hosanna in the highest, crucify him. David killed his tens of thousands. There he goes, Saul. David's like, oh man, this is happening again. And so David plays the madman. David plays the madman. I got a question. Anybody ever played crazy to escape crazy? Maybe I'm only going to talk to a few people in the room. Okay, maybe you ain't played crazy, but you played dumb. 2 + 2 = 5. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta play. You just gotta. Hey, look. I ain't trying to make this a righteous thing. I'm just saying sometimes you gotta move with wisdom a different way. Be like, oh, you think that's what it is? Oh, you think I'm crazy? Oh, you ain't seen crazy. I'll show you crazy. It was like, what am I gonna do with this madman? Nothing. Because you know what I found out? While I was here, this ain't the place for me. Watch this. David didn't get nothing from there. See, this is what we got to understand. When we don't know where we're going, we got to know how to get out of places where we don't belong. We got to know how to get out of places that are just not for us. He got there, it's like, look, they are praising me, but this ain't the place for me. Somebody need to hear that. They're praising me, but this ain't the place for me. One more time. They're praising me, but this ain't the place for me. Oh, God. He fled from there. David is still running, and we're almost done. David's almost done. I remind you, sometimes the path of resentment is a process of refinement. I want to tell you one more thing. Sometimes escape is the only way to live right. The truth is, progression for the believer is a peculiar development. I'm going to say it again. Progression for the believer is a peculiar development. Progression for the believer is a peculiar development. It's strange. Because sometimes we don't realize what we're going through, we're still progressing. Because I came to Knob and I got bread, and I got fuel, and I got weaponry. When I came to the wine press, I got nothing. But here's the thing. I didn't get stuck in the high place, and I didn't get stuck in the wine press. That's progression. Let me say it one more time. I didn't get stuck in the high place. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I didn't get stuck in the high place, and I didn't get stuck in the wine press. Well, what happened? I kept going. I kept going because progression is peculiar for believers. Sometimes nothing is happening, and that's exactly what needs to happen. Sometimes we're not the place that we need to be, or the place where God's going to turn around, because God's getting ready to turn around. I want to encourage a couple of people real quick. I know you've been going through for a long time and it ain't been making sense, but you just keep pressing. You keep on holding on. He's building your endurance. I'm telling you, it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around any day now. Anytime could be a long time, but that's why you're building endurance in the first place. Anytime now could be a long time from now, but he's building endurance. You're building endurance. Because here's the truth about there. Here's the truth about there. We serve Yahweh Shema, the God who's there. So he was there. God help me. He was there in the high place. He was there in the high place. You think you got that bread on your own? You think you got that sword on your own? You think that sword just happened to be there when you got there? When you showed up, it just happened to be there because you're so wonderful, or do you not understand that God was there? Well, was God in the wine press? Yeah, God was in the wine press, because watch this, he let you hear those praises, and you was like, that ain't for me. But only wisdom will teach you that. But you had to learn wisdom 2 chapters ago. So that when you got to this place, wisdom will teach you when you get to the next place that praise won't make you backslide. That praise won't become an obstacle. That praise won't have you thinking that people are really celebrating you when it's really alerting the authorities. Are you hearing where I'm going? Finding what's next. Finding what's there, brother. Finding what's there. What's there? Development. Give God praise.